Oopsie. Okay, everyone. I am still not savvy with the technical part of the podcast. So let me remove my picture, if you will, and I will get started. Look at me, look at me today. Okay, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Unscripted with Kym KAN. This space was created from real conversations in my car, conversations that remind us that we are not alone. It's a space where people feel safe enough to speak honestly. Over the first two episodes, we've talked about healing, recovery, and the courage that it takes to confront hard situations and seasons. So, as we close out Black History Month, I want to honor the voices that have lifted, the hands that have built, and the faith that has sustained generations. Black history is not just struggle, it is innovation, it is ownership, it is creativity, it is perseverance. The words lift every voice and sing. It reminds us that legacy is not silent, it is lived. Tonight, we continue that journey by highlighting legacy in motion through entrepreneurship. We're talking about what it means to build something with purpose, to face obstacles with faith, and to create opportunities not just for yourself, but for your community. We are focusing on something that touches every life in some way. Mental health, y'all, mental health. It's not a weakness. It is not a forbidden subject. It is a vital part of our overall well being. We live in a world where many people are surviving silently. And tonight, I am honored to be joined by a Houston, Texas guest who is committed to helping others grow, heal, and build strength in the mental health field. Thank you for being here, Troy Marsaw. Oops, you are not in the stage. There he is. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's chat. I can't hear you. I don't know why, because I took you away from the stage. Technical difficulty. Say hello. You can't hear. You can't hear. Do you have it on mute? You can't hear me either. Can't hear me. I can't hear you. All righty. Give me a second. Let me see. I see I'm talking. They can hear me. You don't have it on mute? You sure?
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear
You
me.
muted my mic.
It's off. It's not muted. You still can't hear me? I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Okay, no worries. Let me see. Did you hear me talk? Oh, you can't hear me. Jesus. Okay. Mute. Unmute. I don't know what to tell you. So now I need to know if people can hear me. 1 second. 1 second. Everybody, give me a second. Somebody that's on here, tell me if you can hear me. Anybody? Okay. Has it started? Oopsie. Okay. You can hear both of us? Okay. So not savvy. I don't know what he did. How do I get him back? Part of the podcast. Right. So let me remove my picture, all right, if you will, and I will get started. Oh gosh, now I can't get this on today. I can't get this on pause. There we go. So Troy cannot hear. You should be volume. Can you turn your volume up?
Be careful when eating this bariatric gelatin with lemon.
You can't hear me. Disconnect and come back to the stage. You read it? All right, guys. In a second, Troy's gonna join us. But in the meantime, I'm gonna see if I can get him back in through my phone. I don't know. There we go. Can you hear me now? Let me get him in the stage. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Amen.
Yes.
Welcome, 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 Troy Marsal. How are
Thank you.
you today?
All is well. Thank you. You're looking lovely today.
Thank you so very much. And you're handsome as ever.
Well, thanks
Cowboy
for
from Houston, Texas.
yes. So they tell me Cowboy Troy from
Cowboy
Houston,
Troy,
from Houston, Texas.
we got you. So
Yes.
tell me about you. You didn't even hear my spill. You didn't hear my intro or anything. You'll have to listen to it later.
Okay.
But I just want to know more about you and what you do
Well,
besides being a cowboy in Houston, Texas.
at this juncture of life,
Yes.
I've slowed down. I think more so now I'm trying to teach the younger generation on how to go into business for themselves in healthcare, and that has been my goal as of the last 12, 18 months, trying to teach others how to make money based upon their talents and not
Okay.
being used for someone else to make money off of them.
Okay. So, what was your passion? How did you get started? Why did
Um,
you get started? It's
well,
more.
you know what? I've always, from the time I was a kid, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to work for myself. Um, my grandfather,
Yes.
he helped raise me. He and my
Okay.
grandmother, and he owned his own business, and he was in the cement business. And so I would go to work with him as a little kid. Of
Okay.
course, I couldn't do anything because that cement was just too much for a little small guy like me, and so I couldn't take the heat. So my grandfather told me, either this is going to be you or you're going to go get an education and you're going to do better than what I'm doing. And I decided I would rather go to school than to be in the concrete at that time.
Okay. Okay. So, what made you take a step further? What happened since school? Because from school you did something.
Yeah, so I left school, went to work for a law firm,
Look at you.
and
So you're talking college and tell me all about that.
well, I went to work for a law firm, and I've been working there for about 2 years. And this guy walked in that was he owned medical clinics, and
Okay.
he said to the lawyer that he was in the process of selling his clinic because he was going to go on the road with George Foreman because George Foreman was making his comeback when he made his comeback to boxing, and he wanted to sell his clinic for $50,000.
Oh,
And the lawyer, I didn't have any money that at that time. The lawyer said, "Well, Troy wants it," and I said, "No, I don't." He said, "Yeah, you do. You want it." So he actually put up the money to purchase that clinic for me,
for
and
you.
I repaid him, and from there I opened up 12 more, and so within 3 years I had 13 clinics, and so it just grew from there.
Wow. Explain the clinics though. You didn't get into detail with that.
So these were injury
Mhm.
clinics,
Oh,
pain clinics. So if you
okay.
were in an auto accident, catastrophic accident, anything that dealt with an injury, we would treat you through the therapy process or pain management. And so I grew those, and I grew the one into 13. And then a few years later, I went into the mental health care business,
Uh-huh.
and I've been doing that now for the last 18 years.
Wow. Wow. I had
Hmm.
no idea.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you became a lawyer and then
No,
no, you were
no.
just
But remember, because I didn't get a chance to finish the law track, because when he bought that clinic, it shortcutted me into something else, and I fell in love with that, and so I just deviated into that area and went with the healthcare track.
wow. And so you all right, I'm just a little bit confused because I'm still frazzled by the tech
Mhm.
in the beginning.
Okay.
But so you had the 13 clinics, right?
Hmm.
And then from there, you did that for how long?
20 total combined, about 32 years.
Oh,
32
there you
years. Because
go. Okay.
I started at 28.
Okay. There you go. That was the disconnect. All right. So you
Mhm.
did that for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you just found the love for mental helping people with mental illness.
Yes. Hmm.
Amazing. So let's talk about that because you've been doing that for you said 13 years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
13 to 16, yeah.
13 to 16 to 18. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 16 to 18, yeah.
I stole
It's
your
been
mind.
it's
Yes,
you
you
know what?
did.
It's been so long that time just flies by, and before you know it, I
Yes.
mean, you think about it, it seems like it was just yesterday that I started all of this, and it's just amazing to me how fast time just passes you by.
Yeah, it does. Time
Yeah.
waits for no one.
Yeah, whether you're doing something or not doing anything, it still is going to pass you by.
Yes. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Mhm.
But I wanna talk about how you transitioned from the clinics into just break it down in more detail into the mental illness
Well, I
industry.
think that so how I got into the mental health care business was someone came to me, wanted me to invest into their clinic, mental health care clinic. And I thought it was a great idea. I didn't know much about it, but looking at what they showed me to be a good investment, I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I remembered someone had put up money for me to get started. And so I wanted to do the same for this individual. But the only difference is this person gave me one check and didn't pay me any more money. And so when I went looking for her, calling her, she wouldn't respond.
Oh,
So yeah, so I finally caught up to her maybe 3 or 4 months later, and I said, "Hey, what's going on? Why haven't you, lived up to your contract?" And
right.
she says, "Well, to be honest, it's just not working, and I didn't know how to tell you."
Oh,
And I was like, "Well, you should have called me, said something. That's the right way to do it." But anyway, I
exactly.
went back and I took a look at the model that she was trying to put together, and then I said, "You know what? I'll go back and do this myself. Since I've given her this money, I had to believe in what I had invested in. So I decided to do it myself. And
Wow.
I did, and ended up opening up 28 locations in Metro
Dang.
Metro.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And how many do you have now? Do you still have the 28?
No, because I have now sold or given to individuals. So like the last one I had, in that I gave to all the people that work for me over the years.
Yes.
I asked them, okay, so you can get a bonus check because I'm ready to slow it down and not work as much, or
Mhm.
you can take this really profitable clinic here, and I'll turn it over to you guys, and you guys profit share, and it's yours. And so, believe it or not, out of the entire group, only one person wanted to do that.
Took you up on your offer.
And even
Well,
and what's but what's weird about that?
good.
I still find that strange to this day because all of them knew how much money could be made or it was making, but only one of them said, I will keep it going.
I, I don't find that strange. And the
Yeah.
reason why I don't find it strange is because not everybody are entrepreneurs. Not everyone feels like they can take charge of a whole organization or a whole clinic or a business and be successful. They'd rather just sit back and let you do
Yeah,
all
but
the
here's the thing though. If you see a business that's a seven-figure business, how can you just walk away and say, I'd rather be an employee than an employer? I still to this day don't understand that part of it.
All right, the audience is here. You guys tell us, what is the disconnect? Why didn't those people chime in and say that they wanted to take over that clinic? Any responses from those of you who are online? Because I'm going back, Troy, again and saying that. Let me just tell you about I had a business, All Star Cheer Gym, and I turned it over to three young ladies. Uh, and I thought they were going to follow suit to how I did the business for 21 years, but they went a different direction. And I do have a comment. They went the other direction, Troy, and they fell. 2.5 years later, they were done, and I did it for 21 by myself.
Wow.
So not every, I think it's not everyone has the passion, and not only that, but not everyone has the desire or the gumption to say, hey, I can do this. I can do what Troy did, and I can do it better. Or I can keep it running for another 10, 15 years. I got this. Not everybody is built that way, Troy.
So then here's a question then.
Uh-huh.
So if you have to put up no money, so if
Yes.
you were in a dice game and you could shoot a gamble and you'd have to put in any money whatsoever, but there's a chance you could win money without putting up any money whatsoever, why would you not get in the game?
Because they live paycheck by paycheck and they're happy that way. That's all I got. Let me see what Sharon Rivas, my sister, she said it is the same mindset as a person saying they would rather rent an apartment than to be a homeowner. Makes sense. Thank you, Sharon, for that.
So
It's
here's but here's what I would say to Sharon though. I
okay.
think that the difference to me in my head is this.
Mm-hmm.
One is income producing that would allow you
You
to
said it.
own a home or rent a home. And the other one, so one is a job and the other one is a career. And
Mm-hmm.
so remember, I started at 28. And
Mm-hmm.
so all of those years, I've never worked for anyone, um, 52 employees. And I don't understand for the life of me, only one person said I would go, I would do it.
Mm. Um, I can't stray from it. I just feel that some people are afraid, and if they're renting, they know everything is covered, everything goes the same each day, nothing changes except maybe you'll charge a little bit more each year. But if something breaks down, you're going to fix it. They don't have to worry about it. They just have that mindset that they just want everything easy. Just give me a paycheck. I'm gonna do this job. I know how to do it, and that's it. That's all I want out of life.
Mhm.
Whereas you and I, we're entrepreneurs. We can do it. Well, if you would have given me that offer, I would have taken half of them. Thank you, and I would
Yeah.
have ran with it, and it would be successful today. Why? Because that's an opportunity. But some people don't want opportunities. They want complacent uh, things. They just want to be content with the same old thing. They're in that little box. That's my opinion. I don't know. Oh,
Well,
my sister also chimed in again, and she says some people can't see past tomorrow. That's true.
well, what's interesting is that my children, I have a 39-year-old young
Hmm.
man. My daughter, she's in the middle, she's 37, and my youngest is 31. And she's a lawyer, the daughter, and believe it or not, they didn't even want to take the business over. And I was like, well,
Oh,
when you're talking about a succession plan, your father's already
paid.
walked down that path and put everything together for you, and you don't want this? And everyone has a desire to do something different. I don't want to do that. That's what you did. I don't want to do that. And I
That's
don't understand that either.
I know, but that's it. You got, and I think the reason why I'm going to talk about your legacy, but I think the reason why my business after I turned it over didn't succeed is because they didn't have the passion that I had for
Yeah.
that business.
Yeah.
So that's key with your children. They're like, I don't want to do that. That's not my passion, and they probably felt like I wouldn't be you wouldn't be proud of me because I wouldn't be as successful as you, Dad, because that's not what I want to do with my life.
Hmm.
Maybe?
Well, I think about that and I look at it this way. You know how we as parents, whoever out there in this world, out here in this watching, if you're a
Yes.
parent, you know
Hmm.
how you work hard to provide a better life for your children. You
Yes.
want them to live, a decent life, and you want to try and help them.
Yes.
And I've seen so many parents go out and provide, well, they buy all this real estate and they take care of the real estate and then they turn it over to their kids. And do you know, I've seen it just squandered in like a year or two. I had a friend that had 18 properties. He gave it to his son, and within 2 years, it was gone. So all
Ouch.
the hard work that he did,
Oh
it
gosh.
didn't he didn't the young man didn't respect it, and it probably was because he didn't have to work for it.
Oh gosh. Yes, that is it. I had a conversation with a friend one time, and they asked me, so if you were to win uh, $1 billion, or let's just say 10 million, doesn't matter. Would you give a portion to your children? And I said, not a lot. I would give it to them in spurts because I want to see what they're going to do with that money. I'm not going to let it go to waste. And it's my choice. I'm getting taxed on the money. So for me, I would give it to them with what I feel they could handle at that time. So would it be a lump sum? No, no, sir. No.
Well, let me ask you a question. Since you called that number, what would you feel if you had $1 billion? What would you give if you had 5 kids? What would you give each kid while you're alive to say, okay, you take this and go out and see what you can do with it?
A billion, if I had a billion,
Hmm.
I'd give them 1 million each.
Okay. Okay.
Just to start. Let me see what you're gonna do. Let me, if my boys are listening now, that's what your mama gonna do. Because at the end of the day, I want you to be responsible with that. I don't, and like you said earlier, I don't want you to get spoiled and saying, it's too easy, so I don't really have to do anything. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, no, 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 no. I worked hard, leaving a legacy for you. I'm not talking about the $1 billion anymore, but I left a legacy for you to grow and to continue and pass it on to your children. So I'm not going to let you just, now I'm going back to the billion. I'm not going to let you throw away $1 million or 5 million if I thought that number was fair to just do whatever. When I need to see you be responsible with something small, because it's not how much money you have, it's how much money you spend, how you what you do with that money, right?
Hmm. I
Yeah, I
agree.
mean you can have I could give them 100,000. Yeah, I'm a billionaire, but I give you $100,000. What you gonna do with it? And if they do good, then I'm gonna want them to have more. I'm gonna want them to have a home that's paid. I want them to have the better life for themselves and for their children. So, but will I give it to them all at once? No, it doesn't make sense because
Yeah,
then, mhm.
but I think that's two sided though. And the reason I say that is because they may not be as good of a business person as yourself, right? And so I do believe that when you look at black owned businesses,
Ooh,
a
let's
lot,
go there.
yeah, a lot of times we don't have or they don't have the financial resources to, if they err, to keep going because they're basically living paycheck to paycheck, just owning the business. And so the difference is when you see a lot of the white guys or Caucasians that saying, "Oh, I have a successful company that I built." Well, they're not telling you a lot of times that either someone that I know backed me up financially or I had a line of credit. If you have all that, that gives you an opportunity if you make a mistake to come back from that mistake, right? And so
Yeah.
it's not that they're so smart. It's just that they had something to cover them in case of a mistake. And so when you look at guys like Donald Trump, he was lucky enough for his father supposedly to give him $400 million. So it don't matter how many mistakes he made, he had $400 million that he could work off of, and the average person will not have that. You know what I'm saying? Of color, especially. So guess what? If you gave 10 colored people, black
Yeah.
people,
Hmm.
$400 million, you would
Hmm.
be amazed because black people know how to take lemon and make lemonade. We just
Yes, we
don't
do.
have the same, we don't have the same resources backing us as they do. It's not that they're so great. I don't go and buy their books on the bookshelf about, how to be a successful because a successful businessman or this and that, because guess what? Most times the backstory is they had someone else that was financing it. And so if they made mistakes, they could easily recover. So I don't go off of that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's 100% correct. Yes. So bottom line is, I was stuck in the midst of what you were saying about being privileged and then working hard and building to, even though you have the opportunity to do something, if it's not your desire, if it's not your passion, fail or no fail, it's a failure to you because it's not something you want to do and it doesn't make you happy. So therefore, you don't feel successful. How about
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah.
They want to
So
feel good about their life. They want to feel good about what they're doing in general in life. Go ahead.
well, sometimes it's good to allow them to have that freedom to go out and explore to see what it is that they like. But most times as parents, we want to try and make sure that they don't fall, they don't bump their head. And
Okay.
so that doesn't make them strong if we're always holding them up. Sometimes we have to let them bump their head and come back and say, okay, you know what? I realize I made some mistakes, but I didn't fail. I learned from the mistakes. And so I can get up and try this again. So when you say to me, you give someone $1 million, that gives them an opportunity to
Mhm.
say, okay, I put this money here and I didn't handle it quite right. But now I understand. I didn't blow the whole million, but I lost a lot of it because I made some critical mistakes. But I have enough to come back and try it again. And I don't look at it as total failure all the time. I just look at it as, you know, God is gifting you with experiences, and what you learn from those experiences is what's going to keep you going.
All right. So let's tie all of that into mental health.
Okay.
Because, and I say that because you could have a person that you give $1 million to, and they're just not responsible. And then they go and they spend it on things that aren't healthy for them. You know where I'm going with this.
Mhm.
So for that, it's a disaster. And even though they have money left, before you know it, it's all gone. And then what? Then they're coming, Dad, I need another $1 million. I made a mistake. Have they learned from that mistake? You give them another $1 million. And then what happens? Now they have to go to a facility to get help because they go into depression. Like seriously, it's called survival mode. It's like, okay, I had a million, but I messed up. And then I messed up again. Okay, I can't do this anymore. So it's either, they're talking suicide, or they're talking strung out on drugs, or they're talking, whatever. Gambling habits, it doesn't matter. Things like that happen to the best of us when we're not responsible or savvy enough to be business minded. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about that, Troy.
Well, the mental health side of that is,
Mhm.
it's like going to the gym and working out and lifting weights and becoming stronger. It's the same with your mental health. I mean, sometimes we have to go through and to become stronger. And so we need constant help, or we
Yes.
should always be getting therapy, because it's a process. It's a growing process. It's a strengthening process. And so a lot of times we're afraid to get therapy because we think it makes we're crazy, or something's wrong with us. We're not mentally, and what you said earlier, not everyone has to be on drugs to be in need of mental health care. I
Right,
mean, so you could be in any situation, even with money. You could have
right.
a load of money, but that doesn't mean that you don't need some type of mental health care. We've been seeing this lately with the NBA players. They have millions of dollars in the bank, and they're saying, you know what, I just need to take a step back because mentally I'm just not there right now. And so that's life.
Right.
It's
Yes, it
life.
is.
That's life. And so we don't want to reduce mental health care to those that are on drugs, or someone that's just having, you may say they throw it off. They're CEOs,
Mhm.
that are in need of mental health care, and that they get it a lot of times.
Well, there are people like me. I go to therapy. I
Hmm.
go. My oldest son told me, "Mom, you need therapy from the divorce. You need therapy." And I was like, "No, I don't." And for the longest, I kept saying, "No, I don't." And then I just kept going in this spiral, just circle. Just kept going, in circles, doing the same thing, looking for a different result. He said, "Mom, look up sanity. You're insane. So look." And he's like, "Your picture's on insanity." Yes, because you are insane. Sanity, you are not, because you keep going through this cycle. And then when I finally got it, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? My oldest son was right. My youngest son was right. I need to talk to somebody besides my BFFs. Because at the end of the day, I'm not doing it right. And I'm not going to get it right until I get professional help. And when I did, it was temporary here and there. But now I want to go on a regular basis. Why? Because life be life, and
Hmm.
normal people. I'm saying normal because I don't do drugs. I don't drink excessively. I don't gamble. I don't, and I'm an entrepreneur. I know what I'm doing when it comes to money. So that's not my problem. My problem recently, Troy, get this, with mental illness is I was grieving the loss of my mom.
Mhm.
Some people they don't shake that. It
Mhm.
doesn't go away. And
Mhm.
for me, I went down to 112 pounds. 112. I ain't seen that since high school. And and now I'm trying to, get it all back. But at the end of the day, it comes in different forms, shapes, and sizes, colors, all that stuff. Mental illness. So
Yeah.
tell me more about it because I feel like therapy is my BFF would tell me, Kim, um, therapy is normal. And I didn't see it as normal, Troy. So let's talk about normalcy. Let's talk about why it's not just for those that are well, we already numbered or we already stated the normal people that or the people that you think are going to therapy aren't always the people that are going to therapy.
Yeah.
And I include myself in that. So let's talk about that.
Well, when you talk about professional therapy,
Yes.
these individuals have been trained
Hmm.
to identify certain traits and certain behaviors that would actually help you realize or understand why you are where you are. Now, for me, before therapy became something that I knew that I needed,
Hmm.
um, I would talk to the person I loved the most that had a better understanding, and that was at that time my grandmother, that's
Hmm.
gone on to be with the Lord. But she didn't have the material trappings that I had, but what she did have is foundational information, and she had the Holy Bible, and she would sit me down and say, "Okay, now you don't have a mental health condition, but what you do is you got some problems, but we're gonna talk about your problems, and I'm gonna try and help you get through it." And believe it or not, um, the difference was that the way they looked at life was
Yes.
totally different than what we had. They didn't have all the distractions and everything that we have today. So it's a lot different now. So you have to have someone that understands these distractions that come upon us. Relationships are so different now. I mean, right when you think about it, just think about this. In the last few months here, this whole country has been chaotic.
Hmm.
Whether you were crazy a year ago or someone thought that you had an issue today, it seems to me that everybody needs to go and see somebody, because when we wake up every morning, we don't know what is coming up. Every day is something new that we have to deal with that we were not expecting. It's
Right.
weird now.
Right. It is. And
Yes.
uh, Roberta Hardwick, she says, yes, I am all for therapy. And then Yolanda, I missed this one, Yolanda Williams, she says, I feel it completely depends on the child's nature. And she's going back to, I think, when we were talking about the money. She says it's an individual case. So if you can elaborate on that, Yolanda, based on what we've just spoke about, that's cool. But I think she was talking about, the money part, but I missed her
Mhm.
message. So I just wanted to clear that up.
Mhm.
But what you're saying is so true. Um, we need therapy, and we must have therapy for just everyday life, especially in this world today. Because the administration, we can talk about it, but I don't want to. I just don't. Why? Because at the end of the day, we need to have much love and peace. That's what I've been spreading. That's what I've been saying. That's what I'm holding true to. When people get in my car, they elaborate a little bit about it, and then I mute it because I even asked a guy. He said to me, and I could pull up the conversation, but it'll take me forever. But he was talking about the Book of Revelations. We're living in the day of the Book of Revelations. I was like, well, break that down to me, sir. And he couldn't. And I was like, so you don't. know the Bible? I'm confused.
Uh,
And, I mean, you can't reference it and then not okay. So um, he said, "Oh, I guess. Well, you know what I'm saying." No, I don't. I want you to elaborate.
mm,
And he couldn't. So then, what I did with him, Troy, is I said, "Okay, so based on our conversation thus far, sir, you have told me what others have told you.
mm,
So, do you know the book of Revelations and what we're going through today? Or you're assuming and you're depending on what others have told you?" And he was like, "Wow, you got me on that one. So, you know what? I'm being a hypocrite right now, I guess, because, yeah, I don't know stuff." He didn't say stuff. And
I know.
okay, so stop spreading stuff if you don't know stuff. Seriously,
Mhm.
don't spread it. If you don't know what's happening in the world today, specifically, I mean, yeah, the news is the news, and you get different opinions, different sides, all that. But if you don't do your homework, then don't spread the news. Don't spread goodness, spread the love of God, spread faith and hope and peace. I mean, like Rodney King said back in the day, can't we just all get along? Like for real, for real, like for real. Why can't we just be happy? Why can't we smile and just love on each other? I had a challenge. I'm gonna share this with you, and then I want you to really sum up um, uh, mental illness. But I had a challenge. I was in my car, and I'm always nice to all of my ride share passengers. And I said to this guy, I I didn't even talk to him the whole ride because I was on my phone, my AirPods. And the person on AirPods says, "So what are you gonna do? Uh, get out and give them a hug?" And I was like, "Well, I do on occasion. You know what? I'm gonna take you up on that." Yes. So I'm just saying, yep, I am. Because I have my AirPods on. And then he said, "Oh, and then what are you gonna do? Tell them you love them?" I was like, "That's a challenge." Okay. And I got out of my car and I looked down. I was like, "I don't know if this is wise, Kim." But I was dropping him off at the airport, so I felt safe. So it's like, give me a hug. Today's a great day to be great day for you to be great. And so he gave me
Mhm.
a hug, and then he was holding on a little too tight, and I was like, okay, now I gotta finish the challenge. But I did. And then I
Mhm.
just looked at him and then I looked away. I was like, I love you. I do. In
Mhm.
Jesus' name. I didn't say in Jesus' name, and I should have. And what I should have said primarily was much love and peace. Why? Because we need that. Yeah. So I met the challenge and then I kept forth and I kept doing it like with everyone that I thought I could do it to without them
Mhm.
looking at me like, "Oh, you my woman?" No, 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 sir. No, I was just never mind. Have a good day though. Yeah.
Right.
So sum up mental illness in today's society. What do we need to do besides getting therapy, in your opinion? I mean, you're not a therapist, correct?
No, I just own the company. I
Right.
don't. I would say this to you. I
So
don't.
based on, let me just say this because I need for my audience to know we're not therapists, neither one of us, and we're
Right.
just speaking our opinions and our, but don't take it all. We'll take it all with a grain of salt for sure. And let me say this real quick before we move on. Roberta says, "Amen. I am tired of living in a chaotic existence with this administration. Don't want to hear fit. Don't want to let fear take over. And I'm a firm believer in prayer, but it has me very disturbed and fearful for our country." So you can tap on that, or you can close out with what you were about to say. Your choice, Troy.
Now, who was
The
that that said that? Who said that? Roberta.
Roberta, yes.
Well, Roberta, let me say this to you. Um, Roberta, I grew up in a small town called Vidalia, Louisiana, right next door to another small town called Natchez, Mississippi, and it was as racist as it could be. And
Yeesh.
And so I'll say this to you, that don't you worry, don't you fret, because guess what? This is just a replay of what we've seen before. And we as Black people will get through this. We will make it. We will be just fine because God will carry us through.
Yes.
He's carried us through slavery, everything, that's unimaginable. We've dealt with it and we've come out on top. So he's not going to stop carrying us today. But I know that it's chaotic and it looks scary, but you just keep on getting on your knees and giving God what he deserves, the honor, and your life will be just fine, because believe it or not, all of what these people are doing, they have to meet their judgment. And so their judgment, some of their judgment is going to be on earth, and others will meet it on judgment day by the most high. But believe me, judgment will come. And so don't you worry about that. You just keep living and loving. And as for those that when you talk about therapy, therapy is for any and all. Um,
Mhm.
None of us are immune from therapy. And therapy to me is, listen, um, everybody needs someone to talk to, right? And so these individuals, you can confide in them, tell them what's going on, and it's supposed to stay right there, right?
Right.
And so they're not on your side. They're just saying, okay, based upon this, and this is what I think or what I believe. But they're just laying it out there for you to think about it. Okay. So Kim, right now, what I'm doing is I'm going around the country. I start out March 7th in
Yes.
Austin, Texas. Yeah, March 7th, Austin, Texas. And what I'm doing now is I'm taking individuals. I give seminars, and the seminars last about 3 hours.
Okay.
They're $999, and what I'm doing now is showing anyone that's an entrepreneur in healthcare, or you can come from any walk of life. I'm showing you how to open up a mental health care business with less than $15,000 and make six figures from the day you open from until the day you close. You should not be making less than six figures a year, because think about it. When you think about therapy, you don't have to
Yes.
be a therapist to own the company. It's
Hmm.
just like what I spoke about earlier. You get individuals that will work for you, and there's so many therapists that would take a job for you, and you allow them to do the work, and you learn how to run the company while they're doing the work.
Right. Wow. And what I'm trying to do, Troy, is I'm trying to open up a group home in honor of my mom for the deaf um, and those that have dementia. So
Mhm.
that's my goal, and I want you, Troy, for the record, to help me with that.
You
I
know, here's what I say about group homes. Group
seminar.
homes, it's a great model,
Hmm.
but it requires a great deal of money at times to get them going, and then there's a lot of
90,000.
liability, right?
Hmm.
So you can do it. It may not be as profitable, but if your passion is there, then follow your passion. But if you're saying, okay, but I want to have a business that's going to make me great money with a smaller amount of capital that I need to put up, then this would be the business for you.
Wow.
Um, think about it. There are I have a contract with Houston Independent School District. There are
Hmm.
292,000 students in the district, right?
Okay.
Do you know that if I had 1,000 clinicians, still wouldn't have enough? That just
Mm,
goes to show you how much business there is out there.
dang.
Yes.
All right.
So any state, you can give me any state in the United States of America, and I can assure you that you would never run out of business.
Wow. Well, you just signed me up. I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna be like radio. I'm doing both,
Well,
and
you know
over
what?
my mom and mental illness as well.
One of the things that I used to do is do provide services to group homes. So you have individuals that are in group homes, that we would go to the group home and provide counseling services in the group home to each individual. So it's just there's so much business that you would never have to worry about. If I invest this 15,000, will I lose it?
No.
Not even not likely.
Close. Wow.
You
And that's funny you say that because I'm a mentor for a group home of young ladies that have been exposed to sex
hmm
trafficking
hmm
and exposed to parents that aren't really taking care of them the way they were supposed to and got them all mentally ill.
hmm
So I go every other Tuesday and it's rewarding. So I could do that. And that's a mental illness
hmm
uh, group home, right? That would fall into that category.
Well, it depends on what degree. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
mentally ill.
but but they're going to need counseling,
Yes, they
right?
do.
Yeah. So I,
They
I started out. I started out doing adults, and then I got a contract doing adolescents. But you know how I got into that, which is funny. Um, Before I said yeah, I would do it.
hmm
Someone came to me and said, "Hey, listen, these children really need help, and you have one of the biggest companies here in Houston. Why don't you come and provide care for children?" I said, "Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to deal with children. I don't know much about children. I've always dealt with adults." And so she brought a young lady in to meet with me. She was 14 years old,
hmm
and the young lady said that, "Tell Mr. Troy your story." And she said, "Oh, I'm pregnant and I'm 14, but I'm pregnant." And so, I'm trying to motivate and encourage her. I said, "Well, you know what? You made a mistake, but guess what? You can recover from that and you can be your best you." And the girl said, "But tell him to rest." And I said, "There's more?" And she's like, "Yeah." She says, "I'm pregnant by my grandfather." And
Oh,
so I said, "What you mean you're pregnant by your grandfather?" And she said, "Well, every night he gets out of the bed with my grandmother and he comes sleep with me." And I said, "Your grandmama know this?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she said, "Well," I said, "Well, they're gonna have to call CPS. You can't say that in here and they don't make a call." And the young girl started crying and she says, "Please, please don't do that because guess what? If the CPS find out, they're gonna put me in a home, but I'd rather be at home with my granddad and grandmama because they love me."
my gosh.
And that's
Oh,
how I said, "You know what? I'm going to have to go into the business dealing with children too, because man, we got some issues over here on the other side."
mhm.
I
We
was just
do.
amazed. But
We totally
listen, I was truly amazed that the young lady thought that that was okay because it was better to be there, to be in a home. So you imagine she grew up into an adult. If she doesn't get counseling, where her mind would be and what her thoughts would be is okay. You understand? So
and that's
she would probably do the same thing that she saw her grandmama do. Allow, you see what I'm saying?
her kid. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's where the number climbs. And that's why it's such a big need, is what you're saying. Because
very
you're
much so.
talking adolescents and you're talking adults and you're talking normal adults, you're talking adults that just can't cope.
hmm
Talking numerous of things from suicide to everything.
Yes.
So, because I've had a few, and I wanted to share that sooner than later. A few people in my car that have tried to commit suicide, not in my car, but have shared their story, and it goes deep, just like what you said.
hmm
It's out there, and
Yeah.
they need counseling. You're right. They need help,
Yeah.
but two of them told me point blank, if it wasn't for the Lord on their side, they wouldn't be where they are.
And
If they
listen,
didn't have the faith in God being there to see them through.
now, and I tell people this all the time. I think that God on your side is great, but while you here on this side of the dirt,
Yes,
keep God on your side, but also God has provided man to help you get through some of these issues. And sometimes you need a helping hand on this side as well. And there's no problem with going and getting therapy if you
yes,
need therapy.
yes. And they stated that. They said
Mhm.
that they do need therapy. And they appreciated the fact that I was willing to listen and then I was willing to share their stories on my podcast, which I'm going to do soon. I'm going to
Hmm.
lump them together because they said they want their stories heard. They want those out there to know that they're not alone, and that it's not a good thing to take your life.
Hmm.
And it's
You
more so because of those that you leave behind.
you know, if you look at long term marriages,
Hmm.
most of them, if they have good communication, a good communication skills between the partners, they will last forever and a day.
Say it like
Communicating, communicating, and being able to talk is very, very important in a relationship.
yes, it is. But a
You
lot
see?
of us are silent. A lot of
Yes.
us are suppressing all of our issues, all of
Hmm.
our feelings,
Hmm.
and we're not emotionally honest. Therefore,
Hmm.
we're not speaking honesty. And you're right. And we're not communicating. We're holding it all in.
Yeah.
You hit it spot on. Absolutely. So, in
So,
closing, what would you like to say that you haven't said? Because I thank you for sharing your story with us tonight, for
oh,
sure.
I'm actually I'm elated to be on the show, and I appreciate you for inviting me on your show. Um, I thank you for journeying all the way down to Houston, Texas, for my annual mental health Christmas party that I do every year for the last 30 some years now. I appreciate you for being there. It was a mighty nice thing for you to do.
Aw,
And it was
thank you.
really fun. And so thank you for coming down. And this year it'll be in December again. It's the second Friday in December
Okay.
this year. I think that's December the 11th or 12th, and I
Okay.
would love to see you again. And so, listen,
Share it down.
if anyone in your audience or someone that you may know
Hmm.
um, want to start a business in the mental health care field,
Yes.
then somebody just reach out to me. They can call me at 713-942-0222,
I have
or
it
you
at
can
the bottom of the screen.
okay, or they can email me at info@completemanagementstrategies.com, and I'd be more than happy to help them if that's something that they want to do.
Okay. Well, I will get that email address. Say it again for those of you
It's
who, oh, you know what? I'm going to put it in the post right now. So
okay.
email
It's
Troy at,
info
uh-huh,
at completemanagementstrategies.com.
management strategies. Uh-oh.
And if they forget that, or they can always call me at 713-942-0222.
That's
And
already on.
yeah, and we're in the office from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
I think I spelled strategies right. Strategies.
That's correct.
I just sent it, guys. If you need that, email Troy at info@completemanagementstrategies.com. Thank you so, so much, Troy. Um,
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you thinking of me, and I appreciate that to the utmost.
you're welcome. We're building legacies, guys, and you have to have the courage and the consistency. We talked about that to continue that legacy, right? Right? You have to have the courage. You have to have the consistency. And I say you have to have the passion. So we close out Black History Month. As we close it, we continue uplifting and supporting one another. We have to do that beyond the single month of February. So it's not just about February, it's all throughout the year, loving and supporting each other. And thank you all for being here. And again, thank you, Troy, for your presence and your passion to make a difference in our lives with mental illness. And again, Troy can be reached at 713-942-0222 for more information. Now, my request before I close out is to please share the info that Troy has given you and contact him. The email address is in the comment section. But not only that, but I want you to like, subscribe, and share Unscripted with Kym KAN. So you can share this information that Troy has given us, and the conversations that we had and the conversations that I will have every Monday at 6 p.m. So until next Monday, maybe Troy will be back for an episode. We don't know. We shall see.
Whatever you want, Miss Kim.
I appreciate you.
And
All
Kim,
right.
last thing, let me say this to your audience.
Mhm.
If you go to Facebook and
Uh-huh.
just type in my name, Troy Marshaw,
Uh-huh.
you'll see all the different cities that I'm hitting up with my seminars. From today, start March 7th, all the way up until May, and then I'll take off about 2 or 3 months, and I'll get started back up again after those 3 months to hitting the other parts of the country. So just take a look at it, and if you have someone that's interested, just call us up or come to one of our seminars.
On several seminars. Got it. I just sent it to him. Troy Marsaw. Marsaw. All right, guys. Until next time, much love and peace. Troy, stay put.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.